I think he was talking to Ewans. Look at him and Ewans. Sorry.
The two of Utes. That's from the movie.
Well, gotta be people around Rome, I suppose.
While you're looking for that, it's just I just see how things was prophesied to be in the last days and what it's going to be like, and I see all of these things here, and I see it manifesting today, and I know that the heart of God is for us to turn back to Him.
It's in verse 7. It's to Rome. To all that be in Rome.
No, that would make sense.
But it's written for us today. It's in the written word for us to learn from.
Verse 5 is kind of interesting. By whom we receive grace and apostleship to obedience of faith among all the nations for his name's sake. Among whom are you also called out ones of Yeshua HaMashiach. To all those who are in Rome, beloved of God, called out saints, grace and peace to you from God and our Father and Lord Yeshua HaMashiach.
What is called out ones?
Those
Ewans?
Huh?
Ewans?
Well, Hussons maybe, but the called out ones, what are called out ones? I mean, there are sent ones, and it sounds like there are called out ones.
Now, is called out different than called general?
I don't know. We was called out of this, to be out of this world, not to be of this world. We were called to come out of Babylon.
Well, there would have to be a separation between the two because many are called and few are chosen. Are the called out ones the chosen?
We could ask the teacher over here.
He actually uses that called out term in verse 6 and verse 7. Are you also called out ones of Yeshua HaMashiach too? And to all those who are in Rome, beloved of God, called out saints, grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Yeshua. So this apparently was the church in Rome.
Yeah. Did they have a lot of depravity in Rome at that time? Was it like a Sodom and Gomorrah place?
Well, it kind of almost sounds like it. You guess read on the latter part of the chapter, where it starts calling out these different things. There's a whole big list. Backbiters and haters of God, and just right around 29 and 30 and 31. Give them over to the reprobate mind. And then it starts being filled with unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, litany, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, spiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, and unmerciful. But what I find interesting is 32, it says, who knowing the judgments of God, and they do these things.
Yeah.
Isn't that intriguing?
That is interesting, isn't it? You said the covenants of God? What'd you say?
Yeah, I mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, but your verse 32.
My verse 32, knowing the judgments of God, that which they commit to things that are worthy of death, but they have pleasure in them.
See, that's interesting, because mine uses the ordinance of God. So that would be the law, more or less. But yours is saying the judgments, but the word or the ordinances do judge us.
Yeah, because they're covenant breakers. I mean, this one we use covenant breaker in 31, which can be your word, but covenant breakers is covenants made, like contracts.
And that was in 31.
On this one, yeah. King James.
It said covenant. Mine, this one don't even say covenant there.
The other side, yeah, the other side doesn't say that.
It's almost like he's writing this in general terms to men, all men in general, because it, from what he's, the way this looks, it's okay. Verse 16, for I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it is the power of God to salvation to everyone, believing, both to Jew first and to Greek. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, even as it has been written, that the just shall live by faith.
Hmm.
And in the next verse, for God's wrath is...
That might be happening in today's world.
Huh. I wonder what their social media system was like.
Yeah, if you look up that word where it says...
Huh?
That word that says that hold the truth, if you look that up in the Strong's, it actually means to hold it down or suppress it, depress it. Yours said depress it, right?
Suppress.
Suppress, yeah. To hold down. Okay.
So I guess stifle would be hold it down or fully quench it. I don't think they can fully quench the truth though. They can't. Silence is stifle. Stifle is like silence. You stifle something, doesn't that mean like silence it?
Well, we've got two definitions, suppress or hold down, stifle.
You see something, Cheryl?
There's the author of Romans right here. This section. All critical schools agree on the Pauline authorship. Verse 1, chapter 1, verse 1. Of this foundational book, the vocabulary, style, logic, and theological development are consistent with Paul's other epistles. Paul dictated this letter to a secretary named Tertius, 16:22, chapter 16, verse 22, who was allowed to add his own reading. The problem arises not with the authorship, but with the disunity of the epistle. Some Latin, but no Greek manuscripts omit 15, verse 1 to 6. Two chapters were not originally part of the epistle, or that Paul issued it in two editions. However, some scholars believe that chapter 15 fits in logically with the rest of the epistle. These There is more debate over chapter 16 because Paul greets by name 26 persons in a church he has never visited. Some scholars contend that it was a separate letter, perhaps written to Ephesus, that was appended to this epistle. Such a letter would be surprising to say the least, nothing but greetings, especially in the ancient world. It is simpler to understand the list of greetings as Paul's effort as a stranger to the Roman church and list his mutual friends. Paul met these people in the cities of his missionary journeys. Significantly, the only other Pauline epistle that lists individual greetings was addressed to the believers at Colossus, another church Paul had never visited. It may be that this portion was omitted from some copies of Romans because it did not seem relevant. I haven't noticed that before.
Well, that's why I went back to the first, I want to see, I like to see when it says they and them, who's he talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And, it's almost like he's talking in general to both the Jew and the Greek, instead of actually to a specific congregation or assembly.
General, like, in the Roman area, talking to, in general.
And there's also, although some manuscripts omit quote unquote in Rome in 1:7, 15,